Have you ever gone to an orphanage? Maybe on your birthday, with drinks, balloons, a camera, and a smile. They prayed for you. The children laid hands on your head, and you felt blessed. But what if I told you, not every prayer is a blessing, and not every child is praying for your good? This is what happened to James and Amaka. It was a quiet morning when James and Amaka arrived at the orphanage. The sky above Aboob Hill was soft with white clouds. A gentle wind passed through the rustling trees, like a whisper no one could understand. The compound sat behind tall brown gates, guarded by silence and stories. They came with smiles, a cake, party packs, 2 crates of soft drinks, balloons, camera crew. Amaka even brought her small Bluetooth speaker. It was James's birthday. But this year they wanted to do something different. Not clubbing, not dinner. They wanted blessings. "Let's spend it with the children," Amaka had said, "so their prayers will open doors for us. Maybe we'll finally have our own child." James had smiled, not fully believing, but he came anyway. As they stepped through the gates, a wave of cool air brushed past them, even though the sun was out. Amaka paused. She looked up. "Did you feel that?" James shrugged. "It's just breeze, babe." But it wasn't. The air here felt heavier. Inside, the orphanage looked normal, too normal. Painted walls, a small swing, lines of slippers neatly arranged, a chalkboard that said, "God bless our visitors." And then came the children, about 20 of them, different ages, dressed in white and brown uniforms. Their faces glowed with quiet excitement. They clapped and sang a soft welcome song. "You are welcome in the name of the Lord." Some smiled brightly, others looked too calm. One little girl in the corner just stared. She didn't clap, didn't blink, just stared at James. Sister Grace emerged last. She wore a clean white habit. Her steps were gentle, as if she floated. Her face was smooth, aged but untouched by time. Her eyes were deep, like she had seen too much and told no one. "You're welcome," she said softly. "We thank you for coming." Amaka curtsied. "Thank you, sister. We're happy to be here. We brought food, drinks, some toys." Sister Grace nodded. "They will remember. They always remember." James gave a small laugh. "I hope they pray for me. I need all the help I can get." Sister Grace smiled but didn't answer. She simply said, "After they pray for you, things will never be the same." The small celebration began. They danced, played games, took photos. The children sang again. There was laughter, and for a moment, everything felt light, almost normal. Until a boy walked up to Amaka. He looked about 8, barefoot, holding a notebook. He said nothing. "What's your name?" she asked. He pointed at the notebook, a drawing, a woman holding a baby. But the baby's face was blacked out. "Did you draw this?" The boy nodded, slowly, then walked away. Amaka showed it to James. He chuckled nervously. "Maybe it's you, holding our future child." But when she looked again, she noticed something. The woman in the drawing was wearing the exact dress she had on. Later, Sister Grace gathered the children for prayer. James and Amaka were asked to kneel. "Close your eyes," the sister whispered. "Let the children bless you." Hands rested on their heads, small, soft fingers. One child began to pray aloud. "Father, bless them with what they came for." Another child joined in. "Remove every blockage. Let them receive." Their voices were calm, too calm. It didn't feel like a prayer. It felt like a chant, like the children had said these exact words too many times. And then, something strange happened. Amaka opened her eyes, just for a second. All the children had their eyes closed, except one, the little girl from earlier. She was staring at Amaka again, and smiling, but not a normal smile. It was the smile of someone who was up to something. As they stood to leave, Amaka felt something tug her dress. It was the same silent boy from before. He looked up and whispered, just once, "You've been here before." Then he ran off. Amaka stood frozen. "James, did you hear what he said?" James looked confused. "What?" But Amaka didn't answer, because deep inside she felt it too, a strange cold in her spine. She didn't remember ever visiting this place before, but something inside her did. As they left through the tall brown gates, Amaka glanced back one last time. Sister Grace stood at the doorway, the children behind her. One waved slowly. The rest just stood still, watching. And even though the wind was quiet now, she could have sworn she heard a voice, carried in the silence. Some blessings are not gifts, they are exchanges. 2 weeks after the visit, Amaka began to bleed. At first, she thought it was her period, but it wasn't. It was different, too light, too early, and it came with strange dreams. She would wake in the middle of the night, sweating, heart racing. In every dream, she was pregnant, and in every dream, the child inside her was whispering, "I'm here already." She didn't tell James at first. He had been so happy since the orphanage. He laughed more, slept better, even prayed more. He kept saying things like, "That place, I don't know why, but I feel light, like something left me." But Amaka didn't feel light. She felt watched. Then came the drawing. One morning, while brushing her teeth, she noticed something behind the mirror, a folded piece of paper. She opened it, a drawing of her, lying on a hospital bed, holding a baby. The baby's face was still blacked out, same as before. She ran to James. "Did you do this? Are you playing with me?" James looked confused. "What?" "Amaka, no, where did you even get this?" She held up the drawing, her hands shaking. "I told you," she whispered. That boy at the orphanage. He drew this before." James stared. For the first time, his smile faded. Later that week, Amaka visited her doctor. She told no one. She just wanted peace of mind. After the scan, the doctor leaned in, eyes narrowed. "You say you've never been pregnant before." Amaka shook her head. "Never." The doctor frowned. "Well, this baby is already showing signs of advanced neural activity. Speech areas are more active than usual. It's strange, but the child's brain reads like a 3-month-old, not 4 weeks." Amaka blinked. "Doctor, what does that mean?" The doctor leaned back slowly. "I don't know, but it's almost like the child is learning something already." The next day, they got news. One of the other visitors, a woman who celebrated her birthday at the same orphanage, had died in her sleep. Autopsy found nothing. No illness, no trauma. She had just stopped breathing. Hands crossed neatly on her chest, and on her bedside table was a photo. From the orphanage. The same children, the same Sister Grace. And in the corner of the picture was a boy no one remembered seeing that day. He wasn't smiling. He was pointing at her. James tried to brush it off. "It's a coincidence," he said. "People die every day." But that night, as they lay in bed, Amaka whispered, "That boy told me something, James." "What boy?" "The one who drew me. He said, 'I've been there before.'" James turned his head slowly. "But you haven't." "I think I have." James sat up. "Amaka." "I'm serious," her voice cracked. "I've been dreaming of that place, not now. As a child, I see the swing, the little chalkboard, the girl who never blinks." She looked at him, eyes wide. "What if I was one of them?" Days passed. Then one night, Amaka woke to find James sitting in the living room, trembling. He was holding another drawing. This time it was him, alone, kneeling, surrounded by children in white. All of them had their hands on his head, but their faces were blank. He couldn't speak, just handed it to her, and whispered, "I didn't put this here, I swear." The next morning they returned to the orphanage. No gifts, no balloons, no speaker, just fear. The compound was quiet, too quiet. The gate creaked open on its own. They walked in slowly. No children running, no songs, no laughter. Sister Grace was standing at the far end, her white habit blowing gently. "You came back," she said. Amaka stepped forward. "I need to ask you something." Grace tilted her head. "You are with a child inside you." Amaka froze. "How did you know?" "I see the signs," Grace said. "The children. They already know." James stepped forward. "We keep seeing drawings, dreams. My wife's bleeding. Something isn't right." "Some blessings," Sister Grace said softly, "are not gifts. They are exchanges." Amaka stared at her. "What did you do to us?" Sister Grace looked almost sad. "You gave so you could receive." She pointed behind them. They turned. The children had appeared, silently, dozens of them, standing in perfect rows, all dressed in white. Some were the same from their first visit, but others looked older, too old. One had gray hair, another had a scar Amaka knew from her own childhood. She gasped. "That boy," she whispered, "he was in my primary school. He died. He drowned in the well." James looked at her. "Amaka, what are you saying?" She turned slowly. "These are not children." Sister Grace's voice floated behind them. "Some of them were never born. Some were lost before they had names. Some came back, and they wait for someone to touch, to follow, to live again." Amaka turned, her voice shaking. "What is this place?" Grace smiled, softly, sadly. "It is not an orphanage. It is an altar. And you were once one of them. That is why you were chosen. That is why you remember." Amaka took a step back. Her belly suddenly tightened, and somewhere deep inside her, a tiny voice whispered, "I told you. I'm already here." The next morning, Amaka couldn't speak. She sat by the window, her hands on her stomach, shaking. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but no tears came out anymore. Only fear, only silence. James paced the room. "We're going to the police." Amaka didn't look at him. "And tell them what?" "That children in white prayed for us, and now I'm carrying something I don't understand?" James stopped. She turned slowly. "James, what if it's not really a child?" He said nothing. By evening, she made a decision. She went alone, back to the orphanage. Not through the gate this time. She went around through the back bush path, the way she had seen in one of her dreams. She moved quietly, past the mango tree, past the wall where someone had once written in charcoal, "They don't grow." She found an old shed, locked, but inside, through a broken part of the wood, she saw boxes, old ones, covered in dust and spider webs. She broke the lock with a stone. What she found inside didn't make sense at first. Files, stacks of them, photos, black and white, children in the same brown and white uniforms, from decades ago. Some of the pictures were dated 1983, 1971, 1956. But the faces were the same children, same eyes, same smile. One folder caught her eye. Amaka, 1989. Her hand trembled. She opened it. Inside, a birth record. Her name, her exact date of birth. But listed under guardian was written, Sister Grace, Iboob Orphanage. And then, a photo. A girl. maybe 5 years old, same dimples, same eyes. It was her. Amaka dropped the file. No, 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 no. She couldn't breathe. All this time, she thought her parents had raised her from birth. But there had been 3 missing years. Years she was told she had been sick. Years no one spoke about. And now, it made sense. She heard footsteps behind her. She turned fast. It was one of the children, a girl, maybe 6, pale-skinned, quiet eyes. She didn't speak, just reached into her pocket and handed Amaka a drawing. Another one. This time it showed the orphanage on fire, children walking out of the flames, untouched, and in front stood a woman, her hands raised, her face covered in shadow, but on her neck, a familiar birthmark. It was Amaka. She ran, through the bush, through the gates, into the main building. She found Sister Grace in the prayer room, kneeling, candles all around her. The children stood behind, heads bowed. Amaka shouted, "Tell me the truth." The sister didn't move. "What am I carrying? What is this place exactly?" Sister Grace finally turned. Her face looked older now, not tired, just fierce. "You are a bridge," she said softly. "You always were. You came through once. Now they need to return through you." Amaka trembled. "Who are they?" The sister stood. Spirits that were never born, children who were abandoned before they arrived, others who died without names. They live here, in this altar, in waiting. "And the visitors?" Amaka asked. Grace nodded slowly. "Sometimes the blessing is not for you, it's for them. A new home, a new body." "A possession," Amaka cried. Grace didn't answer, because the children had started singing. James was at the door. "Amaka!" He rushed in. "I couldn't find you." But she pointed to the sister, to the files, to the silent children who never blinked. "They're not orphans," she said, her voice empty. "They're waiting." James stared. "This is madness." Then he froze. One of the children walked up to him, a boy, barefoot, same one from before. He looked up at James, touched his arm, and whispered, "Thank you for the space." James fell, collapsed on the ground, eyes wide, mouth open but silent. Amaka screamed. The children stood still, watching, and Sister Grace whispered, "He's still inside." But someone else is driving. Amaka dragged James out. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He just followed her like a puppet. At home, he sat on the couch for hours, staring, no movement. Then he started humming. It was the same song the children sang. "You are welcome, in the name of the Lord." That night, Amaka dreamed again. But this time she wasn't pregnant. She was in the orphanage, back in a child's body, wearing the brown uniform, sitting in a circle with other children, praying. And across from her sat Sister Grace, younger, with no wrinkles. The sister opened her eyes and said, "You left us." But they never forgot. Amaka whispered, "I don't want to go back." But the children all turned to her, and one said, "You already did." She woke up screaming. James was gone. So was his phone. So was his car. She ran to the mirror, and on the glass, drawn with lipstick, was the same blacked-out baby face. Amaka didn't sleep that night. She sat on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at the lipstick drawing on the mirror. That blacked-out baby face. No eyes, no mouth, no name. It wasn't just a drawing. It was a mark. It meant something had been claimed. By morning, she made a decision. She would end this, not for her, not even for James, but for the child growing inside her, if it was a child at all. She returned to the orphanage. This time there were no clouds, just heat. The sun burned down. The gate creaked louder than ever before, like it knew she was coming back for the last time. She stepped through. The yard was empty. No children, no songs. Just silence, the kind that hurts your ears. Inside, she found Sister Grace in the chapel room, alone. Candles burned around her, but her white habit was gone. She wore all black. "You came back," Grace said without turning. Amaka's voice was sharp. "Where is James?" Grace was quiet, then finally, "He's where you'll go if you don't leave now." Amaka stepped forward. "Tell me the truth." "You already know the truth. I want to hear it from your mouth." The sister stood up, and for the first time, she looked old, not just in age, in spirit, like someone who had been carrying souls that weren't hers for too long. "I was only 19 when they came," she began. "During the war, we were hiding children, starving, and much more. I prayed for help, and something answered. It offered me a deal. Give them bodies. I'll keep them safe. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't ask. I just said yes. And from that day, no child here ever died again." She looked up at Amaka. "But they also stopped growing." Amaka's hands were trembling. "You made a deal with spirits." "Not just spirits," the sister whispered. "The ones between, the ones who never finished entering. Those who were forgotten, miscarried, abandoned, named then unnamed. You turned an orphanage into an altar for this. A place people come to genuinely support children." Sister Grace nodded, as if relieved to say it aloud. "Yes." She pointed to the walls. Paintings lined in the room. Each showed a visitor, a couple, a family, a stranger, all smiling, all kneeling, and behind them, always the same children. Amaka walked closer to one frame. She showed her, but she was younger, maybe 5 or 6, standing beside a small boy with glowing eyes, and written beneath it, "Returned, chosen, to be used again." A deep groan echoed through the floor. The building began to hum, like something underground was waking. Amaka turned sharply. "What's happening?" Sister Grace looked toward the altar. "The gate is opening," she whispered. "You were the final circle, the one who left and came back, the one who could give them what they need, a body with memory, so they can live without being seen." Amaka stepped back. "No." Grace stepped forward. "Yes." Suddenly, the candles blew out. The room darkened, cold, and then footsteps. Children entered slowly from every corner, dozens of them, walking in silence, eyes glowing slightly in the dark. One by one, they surrounded Amaka. She screamed, "Stay back!" But they only reached out and began to pray. "Let her become the door," one whispered. "Let her carry the forgotten," said another. "Let her be the gate," said the third. Amaka fell to her knees. Her belly burned. She felt something inside her shift, like something was reaching upward, grabbing her throat from the inside. She screamed, "No, I am not your home." And then a hand touched her shoulder, software familiar. It was James, but his eyes were not his. They glowed white, no pupils, no color. He knelt beside her and whispered, "You were once one of us. Now you will become the mother of many." Suddenly, Amaka remembered something, a word, from her dreams. One word that kept appearing over and over. "Break." She clenched her fists. She opened her mouth and whispered it. "Break." Nothing happened. She said it again, louder. "Break." And the candles exploded. The room shook. The children shrieked, their voices no longer human. Sister Grace screamed, her body flinging backward into the altar. And in the center of it all, a crack opened in the ground. Light, wind, screams, whispers, prayers, cries, silence, all swallowed into the whole. When Amaka opened her eyes, she was outside, alone. The orphanage was gone, not burnt, just gone, like it was never there. Only a patch of grass where the building once stood. Only silence where children once sang. Only wind. 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby boy. Healthy. Silent. He never cried. Never laughed. But at night, he would hum. "You are welcome, in the name of the Lord." And sometimes he would draw pictures of children, all in white, standing in a circle, and beneath each picture he would write, "We never left." Thank you for watching. Please support me by liking and subscribing to my channel. See you in the next one.